What is up, guys? In my more recent videos with the latest rendition of the current garage setup, there was a great deal of interest in kind of understanding the whole story behind this house or this property and how it all came to be. So before we dive into that, because it's quite the story to talk about some of the things that I went through and had to do in order to pull the whole thing together, I want to take a little quick down memory lane and show you guys kind of where the whole Garage Quinn Motors GQM thing started, because I think that will really set the stage for when I tell the story of the current house. So we're gonna take a little trip down that memory lane, and I'm just a little disclaimer. I'm gonna get a little sentimental in the video, but it's not me crying or anything, so don't worry. You're not gonna see tears or anything like that. But I'm just trying to. I'm in making the video, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. Because, at the end of the day, I'm just a normal guy. I love cars, and, I made a lot of sacrifices to do some of these car projects, and I'm okay with that because this is what I really love. I'd rather do this sort of stuff than go out and buy fancy dinners and waste a lot of money on ringing up bar tabs and whatnot. So let's, why don't you guys sit back, and we'll have a little story time. So I hope you enjoy. So it is Tuesday, October 10th, 2017. In about 45 minutes, I'm going to be closing on this house in the back. This was my first home that I purchased. I bought this house back in 2007, and I'm filming this because I want to kind of show you guys sort of where it all began and kind of where I came from before we kind of dive into more where I'm at now. So when I was 20 years old, I was still living at home. I was going to college, and I was full time. I didn't have the best relationship with my stepfather growing up. I really kind of lived in the house of tough love, would be a good way of putting it. It wasn't my house. I was a guest in my parents' house, and I was asked to leave, or I shouldn't say I was asked. I was told to leave at 20, and I wasn't the best behaved kid. I was certainly more immature, a little bit of a punk. Not really getting into like any serious trouble like with the law or anything like that, but like I didn't really think too much about big picture stuff, and I was more arrogant. And just want to set the record straight that any of the stuff that I'm telling you guys in this story, even if it comes off with like a negative connotation, I want you to know that I don't have any resentment towards any of it, and I wouldn't change a thing. I totally own it, because everything that I went through in my life is what makes me who I am today, and I wouldn't change that for the world. So I know that everybody struggles with something in life, and we all have hardships, no matter whether you see it or not, but everybody's struggling with something. Some have it worse, some have it better, but everybody has something, and you just have to, be thankful for the positives in your life, and don't let it consume you. And you always have to just keep pushing forward. It's always about pushing forward. So sorry to digress. So once I was asked to leave the house, and that was always one of my biggest fears, was not having a roof over my head growing up. I was petrified of not having a place to go, and sure enough, that came true. So I had to scramble. I lived with a friend for about a week, started apartment shopping, and I got an apartment. The landlords that I had, and I'm not trying to sound like a sourpuss, they were pretty bad. I was pretty quiet at that point. At that point, I really kind of got to the, okay, you need to cut the shit and start fucking being an adult now. The party's over. Which, not that I was a big partier by any means, but I was quiet, to say the least, at my apartment. And the landlords that I had, they lived right below me, and they just busted my chops about everything. And the guy was really weird, and it didn't feel like I had a home again. So it lasted for about 6 months, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy a house. Because I don't want to live somewhere where I don't feel like I have a home. So I had taken a semester off from school, and I began working full time. I got my foot in the door with my first IT gig as a system administrator. I didn't make much. I think they started me at $35,000 or $36,000 a year, which is entry level, and thankfully they took me in, not having any real hands-on server experience, just kind of stuff that I had done in my own time and what I had learned thus far in school. So I started hunting for a house, and my budget was limited, obviously. I did work a second gig that brought about $5,000 extra in a year, so we'll say I was making about 40 grand. So I was very limited, and I had found this house. It was $160,000 when I was looking at it, which that was kind of about the peak of my income range, and I went for it. Now, my criteria was pretty simple. I wanted something with a 2-car garage so I can pursue my car passion. That was like really the biggest factor, and at that time, 2007, at least here in Connecticut, the market was very high, and trying to find something in that price range was very difficult. So this house had the 2-car garage. Ooh, it's hard to film that from behind me. Had a 2-car garage, plus it had another single car in the back, which is more like a tool shed, but at least it allowed me to free up room in the garage to do what I wanted to do. So I bid on it. It was a foreclosure. It had a bad well. The inside wasn't very livable. I had to hook it up to city water right after closing. It certainly came with its challenges, and being a young guy, I was 21 when I went under contract for it, and I closed just after my 22nd birthday. So there was a lot of hurdles to overcome, and it definitely forced me to kind of grow up and go outside of my comfort zone and really just kind of deal with situations, and had to deal with issues. And it came down to, if I'm gonna pull this house deal off, it's up to me. There's really nobody that's gonna come and save me. So I had to make it happen, and I did. And I was super proud. You know, I was 22 and I had a house, and I was like, this is awesome. You know, it wasn't much, but I was damn proud of it. So I want to show you guys kind of where I was. Now, I lived here up until last year. I closed on the new property in April of 2016, and this was my house this whole time. So even though I bought the house cheap and it wasn't the nicest thing, it wasn't terribly expensive. And as I grew in my career, it allowed me to pursue the car thing and kind of do the car thing. So going back to how I was always afraid to not have a roof over my head, and how that dictated sort of my career a little bit, because I chose a very safe and steady career path because of all that. Ooh, can't see me. There we go. Because of that fear, it's the reason why I chose the career path I did. Not that this has been a bad career by any means, because it allowed me to be where I am today. But if I could do it over again, knowing what I know now, I would have went for what I was most passionate about. I would have found a way to make a living, and I would have been more risky, more risk-taking. But I was driven by that fear, and then I had financial commitments because I had this mortgage, and I had other things. And then, you know, as I made more money, I started buying more cars. And if I was younger, I would have been much more different. So any of you young guys who follow me and you want some advice, I would say follow your heart. Whatever it is that you love the most in this world, go after it. Because if you truly love something, you will do whatever it takes to find a way to make it work and make a success of it. So there will definitely be naysayers, family, loved ones. You're gonna get everybody giving you a million reasons not to do something, but you have to listen to your gut. And that's kind of what I've been doing more lately, and it's life-changing. If you empower yourself like that, it's really life-changing. So don't let the naysayers tell you otherwise. Don't be driven by fear. If you're young, before you get the commitments, go for it. Dream big, and just go as hard as you can. So I want to show you guys a little bit, just to get an idea. This is the garage that it all started in. It's just a 2-car garage. Nothing special. I built the red Miata in here, the white Miata. The restorations were both done on these. Even the FDRX7, I did the complete restoration on this. In this garage, I had my tire rack up there that I made. Very small, very simple. Small driveway. But this is where it kind of all began. Those of you who've been following me from the beginning, I started filming while I was living here still. I started renting a commercial space to work on the car projects upstairs of the garage here. I used to do my clean work up here, head assemblies and whatnot. Had a little gym set up here at one point, but yeah. So when I started actually filming for Garage Quinn Motors and doing the whole GQM thing, it was at a commercial space that was about 5 minutes from here down the road. I was renting with a friend of mine. It was about 1,800 square feet, but it was a really awkward 1,800 square feet. It was like kind of in the shape of an L, and it didn't allow for like the best working space. But it's kind of where this all started, and that's where you watch earlier videos. That's the space that I was filming in. If you haven't gotten this by now, this is a very busy road. My criteria for the house was pretty simple. I just wanted a 2-car garage, and I had to sacrifice the location for that. Just beyond those houses over there is the highway. There's like a construction quarry down the road, which is, you can see why there's a lot of dump trucks and stuff coming by. But the house itself is nothing spectacular. It was a colonial that was built in 1920. Pretty plain Jane. It's 1,070 square feet. It's not big, but it has the room up above the garage, which kind of helped. You know, so that was an extra 441 square feet. It's about 1/3 of an acre, 0.29 acres. Given this town, a lot of the houses are much closer to each other. Aside from the busy road that's behind me, this house appealed to me just because there's a little bit more space in between the neighbors, and I have some natural and unnatural privacy borders between houses, which nothing's right on top of each other. There's the one car, which is more like a shed. Obviously you could see, like, with the roots and stuff growing up from this tree here, you're not really getting a car back here and up and into it. It's old wood floor, but it worked because I was able to just put all my car tools and all my yard tools and stuff in there, and not have to take up any space from the garage. So small yard, little side yard here. Again, more natural barriers from neighbors, which was kind of a selling point. But again, nothing spectacular. It was what I can afford. Like I said, I bought it for $146, and as much as it pains me to sell it with all the work that I put into it, cleaning it up, and because remember, it was a foreclosure and it wasn't move-in condition. I'm selling it for less than what I paid for it back then, but I have equity into it because I've had the mortgage for over 10 years, and I had refinanced it at one point and gone to a 10-year note. So I'll just give you a quick rundown through the house so you can just kind of see. I redid this room before putting it back up on the market. It was the laundry room, all fresh siding. I'll walk in here to the kitchen. Kitchen is small. I'm gonna sit behind the camera and let you guys see a little bit better. Kitchen is small, but it gets the job done. Again, the house is only 1,070 square feet, so it's you know, it's limited, and it's a one bathroom house. But this is where I lived a good portion of my life, you know. So yeah, stepping up into what I have now was definitely quite a huge leap. But I'm probably getting really bad echo here, and I apologize because the house is empty. But living here and being smart with my finances is what allowed me to get into all the car projects that I have, and was what ultimately kind of allowed me to get into the house that I have now. Even though when that house came about, it was sort of a surprise, and I wasn't really in a position to buy a new house. Because of the circumstances here, I was able to scramble and really kind of extend myself outside of my comfort zone and get into something much greater. So I think it's important that you guys see this. I'm sure a lot of you, like, you get it. You know, not everybody is just like come from riches. We all have our struggles that we come from, but this is where I came from, and I'm damn proud of it. So I don't regret it one sec. Here's the lawyer calling me now because I got to get going and get showing up to this closing. But I'm going to end this video here. We'll pick up with more for the new house, and I'll kind of show you guys more around that, and I'll give you the whole story for that, because let me tell you, that is quite the story. I think I've done some kick-ass stuff for being my age, but yeah, to pull off the house that I'm in now, that really required anything more than anything I've ever taken on prior. So
we'll leave this one here, guys. We'll pick up shortly. Bam.
All right, guys, so we are going to end this one here. In the near future, I'll do a video for kind of going over the whole property, the whole backstory behind it, everything, all the crazy shit that I did to pull this deal off. And I'll show you some of the other buildings that you don't see when I'm filming, because I'm always filming out here in the garage. But we'll do that one in the second segment, just because there's a lot to talk about. So one thing I didn't mention in the video is that I did actually finish my college degree. It took me 7 years total to do it. I did 2 years full-time, took a semester off, went and got a full-time job with my foot in the door, like IT gig, and it took me another 5 years to finish the degree part-time, scheduling classes around my full-time work schedule, which was kind of miserable, but I sucked it up and I did it. I still do IT work. I mentioned this before in the past. I focus in network security. I've been doing it now for almost 6 years. It's not the last chapter in my life. Like I said, I've been really kind of doing things out of love and just kind of not listening to what other people say and really just going with my gut. And that's kind of how I ended up here. But it's definitely not the last chapter in my life as far as career stuff goes. I'm really trying to do something surrounding all this and make that my full-time gig. So you're going to be seeing me kind of doing more with the Garage Quinn Motors name. I didn't just name myself this for the YouTube channel. There was a little bit of ulterior motive hidden behind it all. But it's, you know, I'm still going to be pumping out tech videos, still going to be doing the project stuff, and I enjoy doing the channel and sharing all this stuff because I love it, and I think you guys too. You know, this is a channel for freaking car enthusiasts. We're all car enthusiasts, and so that's not going to change. But I'm just hoping to expand upon this. And no, I'm not going to try to sell you my apparel. Nothing like that. I'm working on stuff that's niche, and there's gaps in the market. One, that I can't get these things from my cars, so I'm going to start producing stuff and make them available. You know, one, because I need them, but two, for you guys, because I think they'll fill some good gaps in the market there. But if you do want any of these shirts, they are on my website. But I don't push it because that's not what I do. I'm not trying to sell you guys just that stuff. If you want it, great. It means the world to me. But see, I'm starting to sound like I'm trying not to make this sound like a sales pitch. So you know what? Don't buy a sweatshirt or a T-shirt unless you really want one. But if you do, I'm not going to stop you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll pick up next time with the whole story and the tour of the property. So that's it for this one, guys. Thank you very much. Done.